custom made.
You gave me hope when it seemed hopeless. You put a song in my heart. Showed me a road not often taken. You gave me a start all the way. Why did you ever change your name all the way? Change your name, because you were like a wave on the ocean, wild and free you came, and you were like a storm coming out of mountains, never to be tamed all the way. Why did you ever change your name all the way?
Welcome back to the very decent last season of Satanic Initiation. Tonight, we come to Bible studies. And oh my goodness, do I have a couple of whoppers for you tonight. It's going to be delicious. And I just want everybody to remember that we are covering everything with crosses. Covering everything with crosses is our chorus. Love it. Love it. It's a decency thing. We'll have Gnostic informant later in order to provide comment, to answer some interesting questions. Difficult questions. Questions that you wouldn't answer if you had anybody looking over your shoulder. Fortunately, we don't. So we can go to whatever text we want. And on Lady Babylon Bible studies tonight, we're going to go in deep. Welcome. Tonight on Lady Babylon, you're going to be watching some of the most profoundly powerful and impactful images. You're going to receive these into your mind. You're going to become one with that idea. And that may cause you to be uncomfortable. It's okay. It's not me. And while you're sitting there, I had the machine dialed for the 15th. We're going to take a quick jump out tonight in the 15th. And the way we're going to get there is we're going to parachute right out of our space-time vessel. But it's okay, because Beccadelli is going to catch us. Beccadelli is going to catch us. I'll say a few words about him after he shows up. But tonight, I want to just let him sing for you. Everybody, this is Beccadelli. fantastic. Kind of puts everything in perspective, doesn't it? Now, Beccadelli got in a lot of trouble for writing it. Now, the De Medici's liked it. And it was at the front of the Renaissance. But in his work on the hermaphrodite, there were certain things that the prevailing society around didn't want them to be talking about or thinking about or looking at. And one of them was the hermaphrodite. What Beccadelli did was he took that sword edge and plunged it right into the heart of the church. And he got the response that, he should have predicted he would get. He had to come to a place to recant. You too shall recant your understanding of history. Love it. I've brought you some great stuff tonight, and I'm very happy to be able to bring things to an end. I'm very happy. I'm very excited to be here. I'm just, you know how it is when you're in that place and you think, wow, when they said apocalypse, this is what it is. Turn up. Did someone turn up? Did somebody turn up that global thermostat? Somebody turned up, Chewy. Did somebody turn up that global thermostat? Whew, keeps going up. Fantastic. Let's bring you right in tonight. Okay. Now that we've purified the place with Beccadelli, I just want to take you in, show you some of the real. Give me that first, Chewy. Hit it. Beautiful. Yeah, this is who I want you to consider tonight. Iphiwanassa. Iphiwanassa. Yeah, this is an old name. You see the Iphi on the front and the Anassa following. That Anassa or Wanassa is an old Mycenaean term. It's an old Mycenaean term. Can you see this, people? This is old. The stuff that you think of as history, this is way before it, right? This is before all the stuff. And what does this mean? Take it down. This is for every woman in the audience tonight. This is for every woman. It means the Queen's force. Queen's force. What is that? I don't even know what that is scientifically. Queen's force. Is it a perfume? Can I spray some of that? See if it smells good. It's making me tingle. Queen's force. That's who we're looking at. Okay. Iphiwanassa. Let's hit the next one. Oh, I just want to take you to 1331. Now, people, okay, with all the clues and everything, you know what you have to do. Get your decoders out. 1331 it is. Take us to the next star chart. There we go. I want you to read this tonight. Here we go. Are you ready? Who are we talking about? A Pisces. We're talking about a kid. We're talking about a kid Wanassa. Right? 1,000 years before Isaac was getting his sacrifice, Iphigenia was the sacrifice in the 3rd century when people began to make up what you call the Old Testament. Those people, they borrowed from older established mystery cults that followed not Moses, but the Muses. And so they borrowed. Judaism is a creation, the religion, right? The religion is practiced by ultra-Orthodox and Orthodox. That practice is based in a much older mystery practice where the girl is sacrificed to the goddess. Do you know what we do in this type of world? This is the type of world of Lupercalia. This is the type of the world of Lupercalia. You know what we do? Thank goodness Evander showed us. It was his mother who gave us the alphabet. What's her name? What's her name? We're in Italy now, people. Did you feel that bump? We just got to Italy. What's her name? Her name is Carmenta. Wait, who? Carmenta. That's what we say in Rome. What do those knuckleheads in Athens say? Musa. Oh, yes, okay, okay, fine. Yes, yeah. She was here too. She did the same thing. She brought us a whole bunch of letters and showed us how to write, how to bring these images into our logos. Oh, fantastic. Fantastic. That's Carmenta. Nice to meet you, Carmenta. This is your history, people, right? This is the history. It's yours. Sorry. Let's go to 1331 Flash. It got my goat for some reason. Did you see that, Chewy? It got my goat. There he is. It's not a he. Hi there, sweetie. There's my goat. Right? You remember to imprint the sacred image. We cover up that which is unholy with the sacred image. Right? You'll remember now the cross. Thank you, sweetheart. That's enough. Go. You can go back. Beautiful. I have my goats too. All right, let's go. I came armed with goats. Who are we talking about? We're talking about the child of Agamemnon. Who is this? Who is the predecessor that later civilization creates this Abraham Isaac image? It is Iphigenia. And just as the child, she's a child, right? Remember, Mary is 12. All that stuff in the temple with her nourishment, they call that the burning off of mortality. Isn't that great? Anywho, all of that in order for Mary to be able to produce the aqua vitae. People have been asking, and I'm not giving out the formula anymore because there's nothing that can be done with it. In order to do it, you would have to take the formula and you would have to give it to a person over a period of years until they develop to a certain stage that they could then produce the water of life. Can't be done. It can't be done. Maybe, but I would say never say never. Let's go back to the 1331. Take these people. 1331. What is she doing? Thusa aporiton floga. Now I'm going to translate. Leave it up. I'm going to translate for you that, but it's very difficult because my English, with all my Anglo-Saxon ancestors talking with a very limited vocabulary, we couldn't come up with much to talk with mouth and brain things. The Greeks have some concepts that are kind of ancient Greeks. Have some concepts. Ooh, that was a biting there. Ancient Greeks, the language facilitated the communication. You think it's the chicken before the egg, right? But it's the language that facilitates your development. They're just beginning to study now and see a correspondence, right, between our development and our language. Yeah. Well, it turns out it tracks back to some drug using, what you would call sorcery, cult activity, all kinds of deep, dark, secret stuff, medicine, midwives. It all goes back to that. Yes, it does. Yes, in fact, it all goes back. Okay, Chewy, hit me with the next. Hit me with the next one. Look what she's doing. She's thusa. What are you doing when you thusa? You know what to thuo means? It means to take your incense and put it on the fire, whatever method you got, and to sit there and hotbox that stuff. Just breathe in, breathe out, baby. Breathe in, breathe out. I bring you the drug users, don't I? That's why you love it. There's something about you. I can feel you. You've been here all 7 seasons, and I can feel you. You like it when I bring that out. You like it. You do. I imagine. I imagine you do. Look what she does here. What is this girl doing? She's performing catharsis, right? She's performing the purgation. This 12-year-old girl is performing a purgation. Yes, this is what you call the wedding of Achilles. Did anybody notice that Medea ends up with Achilles in Elysium? Um, yeah, I thought her name was Iphigenia. It was. Iphigenia ends up with Achilles. This is all about a marriage. It's all about a holy marriage. Don't you Christians know something about a holy marriage? We're bringing the New Jerusalem, which, by the way, is a Greek word. Jerusalem's a Greek word? Yes, it is. It's the opposite of what you thought. Okay, let's go. We had Aramaic. Yeah. People, stick with us and we'll do the civilization. You'll love it. But look, I just want you to look at that first line, aporeton. These are the things that cannot, this is the thing that cannot be, it's made obvious. It cannot be spoken. It cannot be revealed. It is ineffable. What is ineffable? Amen. The flux. The flux is ineffable. That's what she's doing. She is fumigating the ineffable flux. And you and I are sitting here breathing it in. Oh, God. Are you kidding me? No, this is ancient cult, right? You said she's 12. Mary was 12 and in the temple of Jerusalem. She was there in the temple. Say the cops. Thank you. Shout out to the cops. Woo! Coptic Church, show me your tattoo. Love it. Keep up the magic, guys. Oh, God, love those cops. I love cops. I do. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. This is for serious people. But I do. Let's go to the next one. Go to the next source, right? Look at this, people. What is the aporetos, right? It's the forbidden, right? The forbidden, that not to be spoken, the secret. Look at this, number 2, the sacred things. It's ineffable. And then they give you the example of the flux, which is 1331. Euripides. What does that say about a Goes? It says a man of mystery. Here, cover that up. They were supposed to take that up. Go to the next one. Fantastic man of mystery. I'll show you a man of mystery. Look here, people. This is Tarchon. Take it down. Who is Tarchon? You didn't even know this guy existed, did you? Did you know? You can't know the Bible without knowing this. Whoa! You can't. These are the dudes who founded your mystery. Fantastic. Let's who are they? You need to think around the late Bronze Age. Remember, this is 1,000 years before any of the Bible, as you know, was invented. Okay, fantastic. We're getting back to something deep. Yeah, and here's this guy Tarchon. Who is he? Think Northern Italy. There's a strange group of peeps in Northern Italy. And these people, they ain't nothing like the Italics. Nope, they aren't. They're unique. Their language especially. That thing's weird. Pelasgian. Everybody thinks it's Pelasgian, right? There's theories. In antiquity, there were theories. Gotta love the Etruscan. They got to finish working on Etruscan. I know they're working on it and have made a ton of progress, but they need to gloriously give us everything beautiful. What about that thing from Lemnos? You guys never got that done either. You know, the watchers are watching you, scholars, and although I have to give it to Harvard tonight for publishing Beccadelli, I have to give it to them for doing that. Otherwise, I can't give them anything. Yeah, no, I can't give them. It's just poopy results, guys. Poopy. There's a lot missed. Let's go to some missed stuff. You guys can learn. No, you Harvard profs, pay attention. You can learn some things. Let's go to the next text. This is John Lettis, and he's talking about Tarkhan. Who is this guy around the Trojan War? What is he doing? He's wait, what is that on the second line? A thuoscopos. A thuoscopos. What is that? Take it down. It is somebody who sees through that thuon. Yeah, he was a seer. Do you see the seer? We don't have these today. And you hippies, you psychonauts. No, I'm not talking about you. I'm not talking about you at all. You think you've been there. You start talking about ego death, right? That's pathetic. That's pathetic. Come back and what you got is nothing. You go there and you come back and you got nothing because you didn't know how to tune. You didn't know the physics. You didn't know the complexity. It's not just one drug blasting you off the moon and all of a sudden you got vision. No, it's not. They're compound drugs. Yeah. And until you've had the mania, you haven't been there. Until you've had the mania full stream, you haven't been there. Till you've been into death and back, you haven't been there. You just got a little atomic energy out of it. That's all. Congratulations. We're talking about the real mystery. And it's going to take more of a hippie, more than a hippie to crack this thing. We need serious people on this one. Oh, God, I love it. Did you hear how important that sounded? Take that, Empire. Okay, text. Come on. Who cares what I think? Go to the text. Go to the text. What happened to Tarkhan? Oh, well, remember. Now, look, it's going to talk about him being the student. Who's this guy coming? There's the student of the. Who is this? Tyrannus? And who is he? Well, he's a Lydian. He's a Lydian. Oh, remember the Etruscans probably come over from Lydia in Asia Minor, right? And what does it say there? All this stuff is made clear in the Tuscan letters. In the Tuscan letters. Fantastic. Let's hit the next one, please. Why even mention this? Well, because I'm going to continue translating. At the time, Evander hadn't gotten there yet, right? He hadn't showed up. He hadn't appeared, right? And what happened? Those letters, right? By that time, they hadn't been switched over. We didn't have the benefit of Carmenta. Thank you, genius of human civilization. Totally unrecognized by any of you thankless mortals. A woman in history who gave you the capacity to develop this. Just sit and think on that for a minute. That's the Evander we're talking about. And because he hadn't come around, because Carmenta hadn't done her thing yet, we didn't understand. We couldn't work with their alphabet, but it's good that we didn't, because if we had all of those things, he says, all of those things that are operaton, all of those things that we cannot speak, all of the necessary future outcomes. What? Yeah. Yeah, he just went quantum on us. You got to remember, we're working with Vigoya. Right? We're working with that oracular philosophy. We're talking to Egeria so that we can bring the future into the present. Yeah. Yeah. so we can make the future. Isn't that gorgeous? Now, again, remember, we're with that girl. We are with her. Okay. Once we lose sight of the cult, we're gone. So, Amun, give me some more cult. Feed me. Everybody, get back on that throne. Is everybody on the throne? Get back on that throne. Oh, okay, bring it down. Bring it down. Yeah, Chewy, that's it. Okay, look at this, guys. What is she doing? What is she doing? She's anololuxe, anololuxe, anololuxe. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Can you hear it? Hallelujah. What is she doing? She's hallelujahing in this friggin' barbaric language and doing magic incantations. That's what that says. That's what it says. Just like somebody washing off the stains of murder. Wait, what? What does this girl do in the temple? She sacrifices people and washes off the stain of murder with purifications that involve the purple. If you will notice where Iphiwanassa ends up, and I'll make a reference to Snake Island. If you'll notice where Iphiwanassa, this is the place. Show us the place. Oh God, isn't that gorgeous? Just imagine yourself there. Imagine yourself there with her. And what is she doing? She is purifying you. And the only thing on that's here is a purple processing plant down at the base, down the cliffs, right there into where the water meets Gaia. Right there, they process the purple. And what does she do? What does the first Christ do? She sacrifices. She sacrifices. That's quite something to ask a 12-year-old to do, isn't it? It is. It is. Let's keep going with the text here. That's a beautiful image, but let's hit the next text. We need people to feel like, they got a lot of things to do. The next one. Look, I just wanted to see some vocab. Look at here. Onololudzo, to cry loud, to shout loud. And look at how smart we are. Look at Roman numeral number 2, to excite by Bacchic cries. What a lame definition. We can't even define what they're talking about here. Because you can ololudzo, and you can alaladzo, and you can elaledzo, and they're 3 different things. Do you know why? Because they paid attention. They understood the notes of the cosmos. They understood the 7. Do you have the 7 stars? I don't think you do. I don't think there's a single one of you who can bring us to death and back to life. I don't think you can. I think you should take all your pharmaceuticals and shove them. You can't do that. Bring me the one with the water of life. Bring me that one. Then your science matters. Then your science matters. And when they cure cancer, you won't be shocked. How old do they live? That's what I want to know. Somebody who's been put on a regimen that controls gene expression to bring out your viper, how long do they live under the influence of the drug? It turns out it's longer. Did somebody do some studies on the way? Figure out what's going on? This is a type of medicine, people, that we don't know. I'm releasing to you tonight that medicine. It's about gene expression. We need it. Why do you think they called her Medea? Because all the stuff she was doing with all the drugs and venoms was healing people. All they had to do was find that stick with the snake on it. She was there. You mean one woman is the founder of Bacchic religion, Dianic cult, and everything that paved the way for Judaism and Christianity? Yes. Yes. And if we want to change that story, all we got to do is say her name wasn't Musa, it was Moses. Yeah. Or Moshe, whatever one. Moshe was my roommate in Israel who went crazy. He was. He went crazy. He ran off into the woods, ah, screaming. But that's beside the point. Let's go back to the text. Okay, I want to bring you some more, open up some more seals, bring you some more revelation. This is fantastic. Go, hit me with it. Another little bit of vocabulary, mageo. Yeah, just you call forth by magic arts. Call forth. You don't forget. This is necromancy. Okay, keep going. Keep going. You know, a god can give you the horme. A god can give you the urge. Okay, just wanted to say that, throw that in there. Go ahead. Yeah, so what happens here? This is from the Bible, right? This is Bible study. So everything that I've said up until this point is just context, kids. For those of you who came to Sunday morning Bible class, or it's a Wednesday night now, Grandpa, what's up? It's okay. It's okay. I know, my children. I know what you're here for, my lambkins. Here it is. It's Acts 1935. And what happens? Oh God, there's some kind of ruckus going on. And what does he say? He says to the Ephesian men, he says, "Who is it among men who does not know that the city of Ephesus is the neokoron of the great Artemis who fell from Uranos?" Yes. We here in Ephesus, turn that down. We in Ephesus, we are guardians. We are keepers of that which fell from Uranos, the Artemis. The Artemis. Where did she land? Where did she land? She landed on Snake Island. She landed right on Snake Island. And from that place came this, the human mind, with a little bit of that burning purple. You can change the world. Yeah. They called her Medea. Her name is the root for medicine. Yeah. Fantastic. Let's keep going to the next one. Next one. Oh, here we go. I want to take you. Look, it's going to get a little bit rough, right? I just want to show them that the Neokoros was the okay, somebody who's warden of a temple. That's fine. Okay, keep going. Let's go. Yeah. Thank you. Well throned Urania, because none of us would be here without her. Now, for those of you with ears to hear, I want you to understand, and this is fun, right? This is fun. You get it? I felt somebody out there get it. It like popped in. El Thronos, you know that we've seen what that Thronos is, right? When you have Poluthronos, you have something that's of many, a concoction of many different thrones. And that throne, as in the throne of Satan, is where you're able to enter that state, right? I want to show you some animals getting high in a minute from an ancient text. And I know none of your teachers, none of your colleagues have ever talked about animals getting high in antiquity. And I wish everybody here would send a letter to Harvard and Yale and Princeton that cut off its classical Greek program. They should send them a letter. Say, why didn't you read us any of these texts? No wonder you idiots are going bust. Yes. Yes. And when I say bust, I don't mean money. You'll always have money, Harvard. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about your lack of intellectual resource. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah, love it. Let's go to the next one. You can see why I'm so popular. Yeah, no, but they're writing books now that took my research, right? And they're saying, oh, well, maybe he's not wrong. Yeah, you caught up. The guy Brown said you'd catch up within 10 years. It took you a couple more than 10 years. And speaking of these animals getting high, look, I just want you to look at this, and I'm going to give you a source here that you've never seen, people. Right? We're in the 7th, and we're going to finish. But before we can finish, I got to throw that really good. This is stuff that you're not going to get anywhere else. This is an almond cocktail. Yeah, you're not going to get this anywhere else. Love it. Bring you Euripides. And what is this? It's the Geoponica. And this section happens to be on the elements of sympathy and antipathy, right? On the physical natures. What are? He's going to define for us. He's going to show us. He's going to show us. Who's going to show us? Zoroaster. Now, don't get excited. All you Persian fans, don't get excited. Cyrus out there, my buddy, don't get excited. I know it's Zoroastrian, right? Right? Yeah, yeah, yeah. This is Julian or Julius Africanus, excuse me. This is Africanus, and he's using this name. Good. And what happens here? Look, he says he's going to explain to us everything, but I want you to jump down to Monthanian line 3 or section 3, paragraph 3, right? And he wants you to realize that, look, you can have an elephant, something giant, going crazy, going into mania, right? Mynomenos, right? And what happens? He can become calm. They can become pacified. Yeah. Yeah. With a ram looking on, do you understand me? Just turn on your decoder there for a minute. Turn on your decoder for a minute. It gets weird from here. And look at verse 4 or section 4. They're not verses, right? What happens to the bull? That wild bull, he can calm down, boy. He can stop his right? Right? Bound. How does he stop? Because he's bound. He's bound by that fruity fruit. You know what I mean? He's bound by the fruit. Do you know it's a saying in antiquity? You can extinguish the ardor of the bull only with the breath of the virgin. And you think, this is a place of creepiness, until you realize that just as the Etruscans told us through their prophets, there is a language that must be used in order to access this area. Yeah. And that language holds the key. The hieratic stuff is all there because of that logos, that reckoning. The language is bringing the reckoning. The language is the device for your brain growth. It's not just psilocybin or whatever else they're going to start throwing at people. It's not that. Yeah. It's cocktail, by the way. Water of life. If you had asked me, I would have given you the water of life. Yeah. Isn't that nice? Wouldn't you like to produce that water of life? Wouldn't that be something? That's the future. Yeah. Coming back to that ancient wisdom, right? Can we get to the point? Can we get to the point that we can understand half of what they were saying? I would be happy if I could understand half. Yeah, fantastic. Why? Because it's just, it's just, I wish I had the opportunity. I didn't. I swear, I'm going to end up in Tartarus, torturing my Anglo-Saxon ancestors, I think. Yeah. Let's go to the next. Here we go. Boom. Yeah, this is Lucas. Yeah, go. Lucas, wolf. What is going on with this? What? Look at the wolf. I just wanted you to see the wolf. Now, why am I bringing you a wolf? This has nothing to do with the Bible. It has nothing to do. Yes, it has everything to do with it. I told you we were at the Lupercalia, right? And I told you the Lupercalia is the prep for the mystery, right? And what are we doing, man? The boys are stripping naked. They're running through the streets and beating people. Yeah, and then we take that same boy and we put him in front of a statue of Artemis and we beat him publicly. Big crowd watching it with a leather strap. Nothing serious, just something to make him scream. Right? And what does he do? He runs up to the ladies and he slaps them, hits them with that thing. He's all naked. Mark Antony was supposed to be the leader of the troop for the one they made for Julius Caesar that was ended up, but he got canceled. There's some stuff that went on they didn't like. But that's Lupercalia. This is the Lupa, right? This is she. Do you remember where that cave is? Romulus and Remus. Yeah. You know, they took her milk, the milk of Mary. Guess where that comes from? That's from the cave. That's from the cave. Romulus and Remus and Lupa, the great wolf. Oh, she was wonderful. She was wonderful. 1,000 years. 1,000 years. That voice came forward. The quantum physics, right? You can't appreciate the quantum physics of this. It's just impossible. It's just religious awe is what is the only thing that kind of comes close to appreciation. Let's go to the next one. I gotta just keep giving this. Yeah. Oh, what is this? Orobakos, the fruit of the pomegranate. The fruit of the pomegranate. Did we have that in there? That was in our wolf. You know what you call a wolf? You call a wolf this, the orobakos. And you'll see Bacchus in there. Why is Bacchus associated with this? Give me the next one. Give me the next one. And by the way, notice Nicander's Theriac or Theriaca is on there, 869. Right? We've talked about Theriacs. We all know what they're for, people. Right? So guess where we're bringing this? Oh, the Orsibacchus, of course. This is what means what? Inspiring Bacchants. There's a lot of getting Bacchus. There's a lot of entering into that place. The Thuoskopos, the Haruspex, as you come to call it, thanks to the Romans. The Haruspex is that one who sees through that divination by fumigation. Right? Can you hear it? Okay, let's go. Let's go to the next one. Sorry, I'm clipping you short, Chewy. People are they're like, hurry up, man. Gnostics waiting. I just wanted to see a few words, right? With this Ors and this Bach, root. Look, you can do the same thing for the women and for the place and for even the lochial stuff. You can do that for. Okay, keep next one, please. Oh God, look at this. We're going to read some Revelation backwards now just to get the purge. And here it comes. Yeah. So I was taken in the spirit to this mountain. You see what the people who are the haruspikes, the people who use the fumigation to fly, you see what they're saying? I was taken up. How are you taken up? In pneumati. You know how Mary got pregnant? For those of you who are here for the Bible study, kids, Mary, the mother of Jesus, got pregnant by God at 12 years old, doing this by means of the holy pneuma. The Holy Spirit. You know what the Holy Ghost, you know what? For those of you who are in the circles of Christianity or have been there, you can go back and remember how it was. A lot of people have written me and said, I came out of Christianity. Thank you very much for doing your work. And thank you guys for saying that, being nice. Um, people are saying, hey, we've come out of it, and I know exactly what you're saying, and it makes sense what you're saying, and I want to explore it now that it makes sense. Okay, that's exactly why the museum was built, right? I didn't do anything. You just came in and looked around. Artifacts. It's not mine, belongs to the muse. Love it. And people recognize that. I love it. I love it. To my old guy out there, I got an old, aged guy. Love you. Right? Yes. Yes. Even from the kiddies to Methuselah. Right? A museum is for everyone. It's for everyone. That's why when somebody tries to stop you, and I want to ask Neil about this, when somebody tries to stop you by turning you in for obscenity, yeah, from Renaissance nudity, right? I know there's a lot of this out there, and I know it's just targeted coming my way. I know that. Don't get desperate, people. Don't get desperate. There's always a solution. If you want to shoot holes in the Falcon, we'll cover up those holes with crosses. Yeah, we'll cover them up. Yeah, love it. Oh God, let's go. Last, I know people wanted to hear some of that, so I know I'm holding people extra time. Let's do this backwards, right? So, he's taken up into the mountain in the pneuma. Woo! He's flying and way up high. He happened to go way up high. And what did he see? He saw Hagian Jerusalem. 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 There we go. Tune that vowel. It's from hieros, which means holy, and the sigma lambda mu root, which in one case that we know of is a form of medicine. Interesting. Do you mean if you go right now and look up the etymology, E-T-Y, etym, E-T-Y-M, etymon, right? If you look up the etymology of Jerusalem, you're going to find it's Hebrew, and there are guesses from Mishnah, stuff way later, right? When it just is sitting there with Greek roots. Something is wrong. The language is topsy-turvy. It is saying this is older. This is older than you think. Yeah, and it's later assimilated, right? As the Old Testament was written in the 3rd century, it assimilated the name, back translated it in Hebrew. You know those guys with the Dead Sea Scrolls? Do you want the secret of what they were actually doing? They were sitting there copying into Hebrew the Greek. Yes, and they can't do it because their language is so tiny. Yes, it was. By then, it was liturgical. They didn't have a shot. At it, people. Of course, they were doing the best they could because they were trying to build a tradition, some kind of cultural foundation. The rest of the world around them had gone into civilization mode. And if you're going to be in this mode with the museum in Alexandria, you're going to have to come up with a foundation. All right. We're scientists. We sit and study these things. All right. So this is when Judaism is really invented. It is invented then, and it is based on this older mystery cult that comes to us from the Bronze Age, of which this Iphigenia, this force of the woman, is the founder. I'm looking for her. I'm looking for that queen force. I'm looking for it. This is where we're going to look all through these texts, right? Until we bring out Lady Babylon and let you see the most influential woman in all of Earth history. Yeah. Yeah, that's who we're looking for. Let's go. Let's go to the next one. We're almost through. We're almost through. Sorry, Gnostics. I'll hurry up here. Yeah, Salome. I just want to see the medicine there. That was Andromachus as well. But I wanted to. Oh, the wolf. By the way, can you just go back to the wolf because I don't want people to miss this. Um, look at this, guys. Look at number 6. Number 6, Roman numeral number 6, nickname of paiderastai, pederast, right? What do you call a pederast? The wolf, right? And is it because of, we all have weird impressions of wolves? No, it's because it's a cult. And cults have symbols that they use. And when I say symbols, I do not mean images, mental images, metaphors. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about identification. I'm talking about putting two pieces of the puzzle together that match perfectly. That is the symbolon. Give us the next one. Yep. Here we go. Symbolon. A tally. Each of two halves corresponding pieces of an astragallos or other object which two xenoi, strangers, or any two contracting parties broke between them. Okay, take it down. Yeah. So you make a contract, you break this thing, and it fits perfectly between the two. They come together, lock and key. And there you are. It's proof of your contract. It's identification. Hit the next one. Hit the next one. You're not going to get this in the Bible school, people. They don't do this stuff. Yeah. Oh, what is that astragalus? It's like they would use knuckle bones. And why? Why all of a sudden Gunkrat woke up? We're talking about sortes. And what are the original sortes used? They're used with human bones. Have you ever seen somebody's spinal bones in their neck? Have you ever seen those? You can take those and fit them together perfectly like a little puzzle. You can take one dude's, take them out, fit them together. This is what we do. It's like a wishbone, baby. There's only, if you break it, there's only going to be one connector, right? It's going to work. One connection. Here we go. We're making the connection. Can you feel this? I think they're coming along just fine. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, love it. Give me the next one. They don't need the milk yet. Secret code. Wait, what? How? This is the same definition of what I just showed you above. I just scrolled down. I couldn't fit the whole definition on the page. What is a symbolon? The word that we use is symbol in English, right? Which is not the same thing. What is a symbolon? Secret code. Okay, now when somebody starts talking about secret codes, walk out. Walk out, because 99.99% of the time it's BS. But I didn't bring you this secret code. These Victorians did, through the Greeks bringing it to us. And what is the secret code to them? Look at this in the Greek. Ta mustika, symbolon, ton periton dionuson, orgiasmon. Orgiasmon. Oh, that's good. That's good, don't you? Love that. Love that word. It's the mystic symbolon, the one that they use in those mystic rites of Dionysus. Okay, now wait a minute. You're going to say, wait a minute. You said there were drugs. You told me there were drugs that they're using. Yep, that's good. You said there were songs. You were songs that they're, yep, they're singing. You said that there was this frenzy, sometimes some flesh eating. You're going to let me eat some flesh. You promised to bring me to a place where I could eat some flesh. Yes. Don't worry. It's all there. It's all there. But this is also there. Yeah. A secret code. And what is a secret code? It's a combo. Get ready. The linguists and the intellectually curious will like this. Are you ready? Turn off the lights. Just sit there. It's signum and responsum. It is a sign or a push. It is a wave moving forward and a wave returning. It is a signal and a response. It is the fitting together of those vertebrae. Don't you love that? Don't you love that? That's what this sumbolon is. And that is what is used within Bacchic rite. Go to the next one. Look at this. What are we looking for? We're looking for the orgasmos. Right? Now, look at how the Victorians translate this. Look at this. Celebrating of orgia. Okay. Okay. What does that mean? What does that mean? Notice that they're related there. They're related there to Dionysus, the worship of Dionysus, and that's why I brought you this passage to show you. Look, oh, it's that one. Nope, that one's next. Go to this one. Yep. Oh, it's not. No, it's further down. Okay, just stick here. Let me see. Hang on. This is my fault, not Chewy. Yeah, this is the passage. I had it in the wrong place. Remember, you told me not to do that. I was right. Chewy. Thank you, Chewy. Look, there's another explanation. You know what I mean? All the women in this place are totally, I'm translating, are totally enslaved to the Orphic rites. They love these orgasmos. They really get into to this thing. And they've been doing it for a long time. They call them the clodones and the mimalones. That's what they call them. That's eponymously what their name is. And they do many of the things that the Edonai do, and especially they do a lot of things that the Thracian women do. The ones that go and celebrate on Mount Haimon. You know what I mean? They're all doing the same things. And I think, it seems to me at least, that this is where the verb in Greek threskeuen comes from. It comes from this crazy, extreme cult activity. And you know who's worst at this? Who's worst at this is Olympias, says the text. She is the worst. She's the most zealot. You see that word for zealot? Zelosasa. Don't you love that? She's zealous to enter into that enthusiasm, that state of total stonedness. Yes. What does she do? When she's fumigated everybody, she brings in these barbaric. Now, it's not just barbaric. It's strange to us. She brings in these giant, strange snakes. And what do? They climb up and down people's first, what do? They're in a basket first. Oh, look, she brought out the mystic baskets, right? And what happens? They climb out of the mystic baskets. And then what do? They climb up the thyrsus and the headbands or the crowns of the women who were there. And I love the last line, ex epleton tus andras, and they scare away the men. Isn't that great? That's Plutarch talking about Olympias and her getting into the mystery. This is a real thing, people. I need you to recognize that it's a real thing. Okay, we got to bring Gnostic on. I think that's it. Let me just make sure that that's, I'm going to go ahead and cut it. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and cut it there. There were a couple other things, but I think it's nice to bring on Gnostic Informant now. Chewy, let's bring him on. Welcome, Gnostic.
Thanks for having me, man. That was cool.
I kept you for a long time.
Jam-packed sources and stuff I never even heard yet. So it was good stuff.
I probably kept you way too long. You probably, you know what?
No, it's all right. Taking a break from some editing anyway. It's all good.
You're about to bring out a new piece. Speaking of which, what's your new topic?
So I'm covering the first 2 centuries of Christianity. And it's not so people are told the understanding is that there's proto-Orthodox, and there's a perfect straight line from Jesus to Paul to Justin Martyr, Irenaeus, Eusebius, and so forth. That's bullshit. The early Christianity was a lot more wild, a lot more ritualistic, a lot more Platonist, a lot more Pythagorean, Orphic style, Bacchic style. It was very religious. A lot of mania, a lot of Eucharist, a lot of taking substances, going out into the wilderness, it's dropping out of society, having egalitarian societies and cults, with women in charge. There's a lot. I have a lot of sources proving that too. So I'm going to show people early Christianity is not what people try to make it as. A lot of times people will backtrack and say these people were heretics, and they always were heretics, and everyone always knew this. But the truth is, no one knew that these people were heretics. These people were revered among Christians, popular, writing texts in Alexandria with funding, with support and patrons, and these were the real early Christian fathers. And some of these so-called heretics have genealogies that bring themselves into the so-called 70 disciples of Jesus. For example, Marcion's a big one. Marcion is the first Christian to have a canon, a New Testament. And he, according to the sources, even the people that hate him say this, that he was a student of Theudas, which is one of the people that Paul traveled with. And his father was Philologus. Philologus is counted among the 70 disciples that actually knew Jesus. He's one generation away. So you'd think this guy would know a thing or two. And by the way, in his possession is all of Paul's letters. How does he have all Paul's letters? It's not like today where you just can fax stuff around and send emails. You have a copy. If you have a copy of Paul's letters in the early 2nd century, you know people that knew Paul. You're right there, right? You're in that world. You're part of that system of early Christianity. So I'm highlighting that, and then I'm going, after I show how the evidence proves this, then I go into what did they actually believe? What were they doing? And it's a lot of wild, what you would consider Bacchic, Bacchic in the sense of they're going through these ecstatic worship ceremonies, speaking in tongues, taking Eucharist and baptisms, and going wild and getting the Holy Spirit. Blah, 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 blah. Like there's a lot of that going on. I have a whole list of these early Christians and like what they were talking about, what they were doing. And that was one of the big ones, was obtaining the Holy Spirit. Was you would have to go into an ecstatic state of ecstasy and mania for the Holy Spirit to possess you. And that was important. That's bigger than anything else. So, yeah, I'm going to show that too.
Yeah, no, I love that. Entering the Spirit, you know what I mean? And all the prophets are doing it, you know what I mean? And all the people, the priesthood that's getting the voice to speak over in the tabernacle, they're all doing the same thing. They're all performing that same mystery. It's fantastic. I love it. I'm glad that you're seeing it. I hope you can bring us some dirty stuff. You got any dirty sex stuff from early Christians?
I got yeah.
Good.
I got lots of sources about some of their ritual stuff. There's Eucharist where semen is involved, drinking semen.
Good.
You're gonna see it. You're gonna see it.
Good. I can't wait. So I had you on, Neil, because I wanted to ask you a couple of questions, very specific questions. Number one, tell me, what is your estimation of academia, particularly Bible scholars and the investigation of antiquity? What do you think?
So, because I'm glad you said specifically Bible studies, because I've been saying this and I'll keep saying it. I think Bible scholars, seminarian academia is like not even minor leagues compared to the major leagues that is classics, right? I wouldn't even say it's minor leagues. I'd say it's like high school. It's just junior varsity. No, seriously though. I mean, like, let's cut the bullshit. Like this, to get the best New Testament scholar you can get, and their range of like history is just, they're not required to do what classes are supposed to do. And you could tell me with better experience than me. I'm just hearing this from talking to people like you and other classicists who are just like, they look at the current state of Bible studies and Bible academia, New Testament scholarship, and it's It's so pigeonholed. It's so basic. Like biblical Greek, you have to learn biblical Greek, whatever that means, instead of actually like getting into like the Attic and the classical Greek. You just have to learn just what's in you only got to learn the Greek that's in the Bible. That's it. Like there's a whole book on this, like learning biblical Greek, and it's just you're literally just learning the vocab that's in the Bible. So you don't even know what these words are, etymologies are. Like it's and just real quick before you comment on this, and then you hear him talk like I don't want to say names, but like there's a big Bible scholar out there who will oftentimes to explain some sort of to explain something in the New Testament, right? Because you can't explain what's going on in the New Testament without having the background of the culture and the history, but before it, like this Christianity just sprout up out of the ground as a miracle, like without any influences from before it, right? Everyone knows that. That's just common sense. Everything's like that. So you'll hear like this person in particular, I'm thinking of, starts giving an explanation of like some of the Diadochi wars between Alexander's generals, and it's so bad. They're getting people's names wrong, getting dates wrong. It's not even like associate's degree level knowledge of this type of stuff. Like it's like it looks like this person just found out 5 minutes ago from reading Wikipedia and then extrapolated some stuff and wrote it down. And it's just like, whoa. And like, that's this person was comparing Seleucus and how he was the son of God to like Jesus. I think that's what they were doing. And I just remember just reading it because 5 years ago, I would have read that and be like, oh, cool. Because I don't know nothing. But now that I'm like actually studying the history, the Hellenistic era, Diadochi wars, the Antagonids, the Seleucids, the Ptolemies, Lysimachus, and like getting to know what was going on in that time. What were these different cults like? What were they doing? What was the culture of the time period? And then I read something like this, and I'm like, now I know why classicists laugh at the state of Bible scholars. Just saying.
Yeah. Amen to that, which is a shame because they have those texts, but they don't really belong to them, right? You have to look at it. And this is what troubles me, because this is what impedes Renaissance, is when you take a group of people and say, we're going to control the media surrounding this evidence. As soon as you do that, you get appropriation, right? That's why you have people justifying terrible, terrible acts over, well, God told him to kill all the women in the village and that it was for the glory of God. When you have a group of people teaching like that, you can guarantee yourself 100% of the time you're not going to get an accurate look at that evidence. The evidence belongs to us. The New Testament belongs to us. It's a human document, part of history. And
right, it shouldn't be separated like it is. That's what's so crazy about separating classical scholarship, classical philology from New Testament studies. Why are they separating those two? They need to be that this is part of the same classical philology world that it was written in. So why are you separating it? You don't do that. You don't take Homer and just make it its own thing and then separate it from the rest of classical studies. Why would you do that? How would you understand Homer without understanding Hesiod or understanding, the stuff that happened before? Like, how would you know? You would just be focusing on Homer. You'd be so pigeonholed and blind to understand what's going on.
Yeah, exactly. And why is it you give just this material to be guarded by these people who are not
I can tell you why.
Into the rest?
I can tell you why. This is what I think. Because it began as a thing that was controlled by Christians in scholarship. Like these very Christian universities, these Catholic universities, dominated that space for so long, and it still affects the way it is today. Even today, you get classical or PhD New Testament scholars that come out of a seminary, and they still have to sign a document saying that they believe in Jesus. Even if they don't, they'll just lie and sign it just to get their PhD. Like, why is that even there still?
Right. It's like, why would you have you couldn't see this in physics or chemistry,
Can you imagine that?
You wouldn't take a great astrophysicist and say, you know what, all your work is great, your math is straight on, nice articles, nice books, but you got to sign this statement because we only want you to present this material a certain way. It's total control.
Yeah.
And that's why Julian is saying this has to stop. And I don't think people realize, Neil, this is why I was so, this is what really gets my goat is when can we bring up the goat now? Put him on too. There he is. This is what really gets my goat, is the fact that this material is being essentially altered to be presented to you in a way that some group wants you to understand it, right? The reality is being fed to you through a lens. And all you got to do, is shadow that lens and stand back and look at the text and do what a scientist would do. Just do what a scientist would do and look at the evidence and say, what do these words mean and where do they come from? And all of a sudden, when you start doing that, the whole propaganda that started with the early church, and I'm not talking about the freaks who were on drugs, I'm talking about the reformers, the church fathers,
4th century guys
who were trying to put control. They're trying to put that horse, a bridle on that horse, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Real quick, let me jump in and say something about that, because the case that these so-called Gnostics are trying to make for themselves being the legit Christians was that they are doing exactly what Jesus and Paul are doing. They're getting their divine messages from the Holy Spirit through inspiration. That's correct. That's biblically correct. The heresiologist, or they call them proto-Orthodox. I hate that word. There's no such thing. You're looking back and then you're classifying them as Orthodox because they won. So these proto-Orthodox people, you know what Irenaeus actually says this, that authority only comes from a bishop because the bishop is the living God on earth. Where do that is so against the message of Jesus that it's not even funny. The guy that's walking around talking shit to Pharisees and Sadducees because they're all obsessed with the law and they're obsessed with authority and having the high places, and you think that makes you, why would that be the case? But so it's like, how did someone with that message win out? Because it fits like a glove for a Roman imperial religion. You're not going to let some guys that are getting ecstatic, speaking in tongues, taking drugs, and getting the message from the Holy Spirit in control of your cultural norms. You're going to have some guy well dressed in his nice robes, and he's got his well-written books next to him, and he's got bishops in all these different cities that he can write to and set things up with. It's way easier to control. It's way more. The logistics of it makes way more sense. But for me personally, the idea that, we're right because we have bishops and bishops have authority because they're bishops, over, we're right because we're getting the divine message from the Holy Spirit. That doesn't make a lot of sense to me, right? Whether you like Christianity or not, this is beside the point. It has nothing to do with the video. What I'm doing is I'm just saying within the Christian world, here's what we're looking at.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I totally get what you mean. And I know that's why Beccadelli was doing what he was doing. He was trying to break through that authority and say, look, we're humanists. You don't influence us. And he tried to write about the very heart of the mystery. And it was so much for that control structure that one gentleman said people blamed the Reformation on the examination of the hermaphrodite. Seriously, wow. Seriously, your mind is that small, right? I just can't believe it, Neil. We're going to be swallowed. Let me finish with this question for you. If we are in a period following a Renaissance that followed Dark Ages, that followed the height of Roman civilization, if we're in a period that's following that Renaissance and that Enlightenment, do you think now in society that we're going forwards or backwards? Where are you gonna put us on the scale of, progress towards classical civilization or turning away from it? Where are we?
Well, I would say this: we're turning away from those dark ages of the church being in control of every facet of society. Even during Reformation days, it's like either you're a Lutheran or a Catholic or a Calvinist, or maybe you live in England, you're an Anglican, and they control all facets of society. Coming into the Americas, and the French were contemporary with the Americans on this. Was the idea that we need to get away from this system and allow freedom of religion, stuff like that. So I think that's reverting back to the classical age of the democracy of Greece, of having your own personal mystery religions wherever you are, and not having to answer to some top-down system in some other city. So I would say moving forward in that sense. Is that what you meant?
Yeah. So do you think you just sparked something in my brain? If what you're saying is right, or we could be in a position where there could be a reformation of the church itself. The church could assimilate the new information that's coming about itself, and it could change. It could form something new. I was thinking we're just in a place of darkness where we're going to go back down that path of the dark ages.
It could be. Think about it. Not to get political. I'm not going to be political, but I mean, I have to say this. The dude who just got picked to be the House Speaker, this guy is not just a Christian like every other person in Senate is. Everyone in Senate is a Christian. They're all Christians, or there's a couple of Jewish people in there. And then there's one person who considers himself an atheist, Andrew Yang, and the whole Congress. All Christians and Catholics, but these people aren't really Catholic. They just say they are. They're not really they just say it. This guy is legitimately thinks the world's 6,000 years old. He thinks God created the world in 7 days. He thinks Adam and Eve are literally real. This guy is legitimately a fundamentalist Christian. And if you think about it, if the president dies, the vice president becomes president. If the vice president dies, he becomes president. He's the third most powerful person in the nation. So looking at something like that, then I agree with you, because it could go either way. Either we as a society go that way, in that direction, because it's right there for the taking on that side. What I'm saying about going towards the principles that Greece and Greece and Rome laid out in the Republic days and Hellenistic era. Democritus and Demosthenes and Solon giving those laws and stuff like that, that made civilization, right? We are so there's like half of us in the world that are trying to go in that direction, in the modern sense, not just to do exactly what they did, but to have that same layout and system. But you're right, though, and there's another half of this society that wants to go in that other direction. And you can see these people are all over Twitter, and they're always talking about, look at this beautiful church that was built in 1532. Why can't we build stuff like that anymore? We're so weak today in society. This is what they try to say, and so they are a strong force in the culture of that type of thinking. So you're not wrong. I don't think you're wrong any more than I think. Well, I think it could go either way. We're in the middle right now. We're at a fork in the road right now.
Yeah. Notice that the guy is also, that same guy is part of this group that is, they're going to change education. They're going to change the way that we look at the world. Notice that they're all saying the same thing, that Christianity produced democracy, that our beloved nation is the product of, you could not be more incorrect. And I know, Neil, that you've put up quotes to try to yell at people and say, look, it wasn't.
They did not think that way. Yeah. You'll hear people like Ben Shapiro will say, the Constitution is a Judeo-Christian document.
Yeah.
Really?
Oh my
What?
God.
It's so bizarre because everything you find in the Constitution, you can find in pre-Christian Greece, like in the laws of Solon, for example, in the laws of in the orations of Demosthenes. I just mentioned both of them, but even Roman Republic era constitutions were given by the goddess. This was understood by everybody. The goddess, whether it's Athena or Minerva, the goddess with the helmet and the shield and the spear, and she's the symbol of the Constitution, because what the Constitution does is it's a divine thing in this sense. Why is it a divine thing? What do you mean? Is it magic? Well, here's what it does. Everybody, whether you have a better abilities or capabilities of someone else or not, under this Constitution, this person that you can have, that you can easily outdo somebody because of your wealth, because of you have access to an army, you control the grain, whatever you are, you're a senator high up somewhere, and that person's just a plebeian, right? But the Constitution puts up stuff that protects this person with their rights, so that you are bound by these same powers, basically. Like that's what a Constitution does. It's power. It sets up a system where people have protections, right?
Yeah.
So that's a thing that is like so important. And I just want to say one more thing about Judeo-Christianity having some sort of claim to this, because I can see why they would say this, but it's wrong. But here's the thing. So we were talking about how Septuagint and the Pentateuch was created in Alexandria around 300, 270 BCE, right? Well, one of the questions I get from people who are skeptic of this theory will say, why? Why do they care about creating a Bible for people in Israel? Why wouldn't they just write it's a decent question on the face, but it's really simple once you look at the situation. This is why I talk about the Diadochi, knowing the history, knowing what was going on in the world this time is so important. Because if you look at the sources, right around 300, 312, 320 BCE, there's a giant war over Israel between Ptolemy and the son of Antigonus, Demetrius. And they fought literally in Gaza. This is great. It's like another war in Gaza. There's 1,000 wars that happen in Gaza throughout history. This was one of them. And Ptolemy, I just told this story the other day on someone else's stream. I'll tell it to you. It's such a great story. Plutarch tells it the best. He says that young Demetrius, so Demetrius's father is Antigonus the One-Eyed, famous general who served under Alexander the Great and Alexander the Great's father. What's his name? Philip. So this guy is an OG. He has one eye from war. Like he's an OG. His son is Demetrius. Now, Antigonus is still alive during this time, but he's controlling Greece. He's controlling Macedonia. He sends his son, Demetrius, to go fight Ptolemy. Ptolemy also fought under Alexander the Great, side by side with this guy's father. So they have a bond. They're like brothers. He's going to fight. He's sending his son to go fight one of his brothers. So he goes down and they find each other in Gaza. And Ptolemy sets up his army and Demetrius sets up his army and they fight. Ptolemy destroys them, absolutely annihilates his whole army, takes all of his fleets in the Mediterranean Sea, takes all of his golden chests that he had, because you have to, when you're traveling, you need funds, right? Takes everything, all of his tents, all of his horses, all of everything gone. And now Demetrius is on his knees, expecting to be executed right then and there. And Ptolemy walks up to him. He's like, "Yeah, good. You did good, kid. It was good for a first fight. Here's all your chests back. Here's all of your fleets back. Here's all of your horses back. You get out of my land. I own this land now. I'm taking all these Jews here. This is the reason why I tell this story. I'm taking all these Jews here. They're my slaves, not yours. Go back and tell your father you lost. Come back in about a year when you get better, and we'll fight again," which does happen, by the way. But anyways, the reason why I told that story is because now Ptolemy controls Israel. He takes hundreds of thousands of slaves from Israel to Alexandria, Egypt. About 2 decades later, is when this Septuagint Pentateuch gets created. Now, the question of why would they do this? Well, if you can't see it now, I don't know what to tell you, because when you control a land, you have to set up laws that are in line with what your ideology is. Ptolemy had all the incentives in the world to set up a mythology, a history, and a set of laws to govern Israel. He does this. By the way, Russell Gemerkin from Copenhagen Seminar International writes a whole book about this, showing that 95% of the laws in Deuteronomy, Numbers, and Exodus are from Solon, and Lycurgus. And only 5% of them are found in Babylonian laws. So what they did was they took all of the cultural norms and legends about Abraham and Moses and all these people. They rewrote these stories, but they inserted new laws that would be beneficial to the state of the Ptolemaic Empire. And then guess what happened? They did this, and then they let all those slaves go back to Israel with their new set of laws. That's geopolitics. That's what happens in the world right now. When you conquer a new land, you set up a new government, you put a new constitution there, you get a new. This is normal stuff that happens all the time. So that's your answer to why would they do this? Of course they would do this. Why wouldn't they do this? They controlled that land. So
Brilliant. Did you notice? I want everybody in the audience to notice the precise use of the sources. Neil is just reading sources, right? And he's just taking material from sources. That's all. He didn't think this up. He didn't sit around and write. He realized it when he's putting the evidence together so that he can make a case like the academics should be doing, but don't, because he's operating outside. Think about what Neil just said, right? If that's true, Judaism is an invention of the 3rd century and further down. An invention.
it is.
Yeah. Think about what that does. Think about what that does to this very time in space. Just to say that will cause commotion, right? You're not going to be popular for saying that kind of thing, Neil. You're standing with the sources, and because of that, I will stand right next to you.
Yeah, I'm not the only one saying it. There's peer-reviewed material on it. I'm just making this up out of thin air. There's other people that came to the same conclusion, and I didn't even know this. I came to this conclusion on my own work, and then I found out that other people, through peer review, through actual academic rigorous study, have come to this exact same conclusion as me. And what was I going to say? It's and that's the reason why I was saying that, is because when people say Judeo-Christianity are the laws that are from the Constitution, it's like, no, this is standard constitutional republic that are set up by ancient classical Greece thinkers like Solon.
The very idea that the slave religion of Christianity could have produced democracy is a joke. It's why Celsus is standing there saying your slave religion sucks, right?
Yeah.
And it's gonna destroy our society. Christians, if I can make an appeal to the evangelicals, we'll end up with 2 appeals. I'll do mine, you do yours, Neil, and we'll call it a night. My appeal is to the evangelicals out there. You think what you're doing is bringing America. You think you're bringing the freedom. You're not. You're bringing your own chains. You're taking the democracy that was built by people who went to those classical sources and for their inspiration and said, oh, democracy, Athenian invention. Sounds good. Let's try it here in America. You're taking those people's work and you're destroying it so that you can be enslaved to a theocratic orange monster. That's what you're doing, morons. It's you people who will drag down this country. And I'm not the one who said it. Thomas Jefferson said, the greatest threat to the fledgling American democracy is the Christian church.
Right. Him and a lot of other constitutional fathers, whatever you call them, a lot of them were saying this stuff. Thomas Paine was all over this stuff. Franklin, they all were. Even the they were friendly to the churches because these are people living in the nation. They're not gonna genocide Christians. They weren't. That's not what they're trying to do. It's not what me and you are trying to do. It's just that you don't let that be the power that you don't let them have the power. It's that simple. Like, go ahead, be a Christian over there. You're fine. No one's gonna mess with you. But you're not taking control because your system is just the last 300-400 years. We can see over in Europe, they're not doing okay over there. So, and I just want to say something else about the idea that it's an invention. Well, here's something I want people to think about, because the question would be, how do you know it's an invention? How do you know they weren't already, doing something similar before the Greeks conquered them? Well, we have time capsules to show this. Well, the first time capsule is the Phoenicians going over to Carthage, and what do they believe in? Is there Abraham stories over there? No. Is there what gods they worship? Oh, they're worshiping all the same gods everyone else is worshiping. Oh, interesting. And and they start colonizing after 700 BCE. They're still colonizing in the 400s. They're still, so it's like they're right next to them. Why aren't they? How come they don't know all this King David stuff? They just don't. I'll even go closer to 300 BCE. In 400 to 500, between that 400 to 500 BC, you have a large amount of Jews moving down to Egypt, to Elephantine, and they left traces. We have physical text in Aramaic from this time period, and this is 400 500 BCE. This is after, this is like contemporary with the Persian period, right? Persian period, it's Second Temple. They should have a whole Torah by then, right? They should have the whole Bible. They should have everything. Nothing. They don't have anything like that. They don't even say the word Judaism doesn't exist in this text. There is no Torah in this text. There is no legends about Abraham. It's worshiping Yahweh. Yeah, that's there. We know Yahweh's pretty, he's an Iron Age God. We know that. But guess what? We don't have. Guess what he also is doing? They're also worshiping Osiris and Isis and Mot and Khnum and Horus. So it's like, and Ptah, standard polytheistic Egyptian stuff written in Aramaic by people that call themselves Jews.
Is it any wonder that Tacitus comes along and says, "Oh, they were worshiping Set on Crete." And ended up going elsewhere.
And what bothers me about that is there's if you read I think the Oxford translation has like a little commentary on the bottom saying most scholars think he's wrong or something like that. But like, we know for a fact that the Philistines are from Crete. The Philistines that are living in Gaza and those cities on the coast, who are Canaanites, they are part of the same. They have a Phoenician alphabet and everything. They are from Crete. So is he really wrong for saying that they came from Crete? He's not. He's looking at the geography, and he's looking at he probably has sources of history mentioning when the Pelasgians fled from Crete and went in different directions, and that was one of the directions they went. They became the Philistines. Pelastet is in the Egyptian sources, and it comes from Pelasgian. And I'm not the only one that said that. There's like 10 different scholars who have pointed this out. Pelastet probably is a derivative of Pelasgian.
I love that. I hope it can be. I hope we can open that up even more. It's a frontier. It's a frontier.
That would also mean that Palestine. That also means that Palestine comes from Pelasgian too.
Those Philistines are Palaioi, man. They're old.
Yeah.
They're old.
Oh yeah. They've been there. They were there before. Even according to their own Bible, the biblical text even says the Philistines were there before they even got there.
Yeah.
So even they had no way around that one.
What happened, Neil, to the Canaanites that were there? Because everywhere you go in Israel, you dig down deep enough, you get to Canaanite, some kind of Canaanite development. And they're all gone. What happened? Do you think, let's just predict the future, and this is terribly serious, but satanic initiation is terribly serious. If we have all of these people that have been, in effect, wiped off of the map of history in antiquity, because you don't have any Canaanites walking around. You see any Canaanites? I don't see any Canaanites, right? You see any Edomites? No. You see any Ammonites? You mean there was a group of people? Yeah, there were. They were
Worshippers
just
of
like
Ammon.
languages, Neil, people get wiped out. I'm wondering, is that what we're watching now? Are we watching that history develop? And people say, oh, you're going to be political, right? The whole world right now is looking at this. The entire world is looking at Israel and Palestine. They're watching this. So all I'm asking is, as a historian, as
The
a
same
scientist,
location
as
where
a
it's been going on.
scientist, are we
Same-
just doing it
like-
again?
Ptolemy and Demetrius fought there. Like the Egyptian pharaohs fought the Hittites in this region. This is like the stadium for wars or something. This little Gaza Strip for some reason. It
That's why.
always right there.
That's
Kind
why
of weird.
That's why the evangelicals love it too. They love it because this is exactly what they prophesied.
They
This
wanted
is what we've all been saying for so many years and writing down in these novels and Left Behind. This is what we're all sitting there in our pews, Neil. We Christians, we're all waiting. Now, don't tell anybody, but the Christians know that the Jews will be wiped out in the end. They already know that. And they're
Right.
rooting for the
They're ready. They're waiting to backstab once enemy number one is gone, which is the Muslims, and then all of a sudden it's going to be enemy number two. The Jew, it's messed up, dude. And they're sitting there bloodthirsty.
In the meantime, people die.
And there's people, children dying. I'm not sitting there choosing one side or the other. It's this difficult situation. But it's not good. I'm not sitting there rooting for one side to kill the other side. That's not what I'm doing. I think that's
I'm just getting sick of watching them, of kids dead. I'm just getting sick of looking at dead kids. You know what I mean?
It's messed up.
So messed up. Welcome to the messed up world. Somebody turned up the thermostat, the mental thermostat, I think. That's fantastic. Neil, I'm going to give you the second to last word, and then I'm going to hail Satan and call it out. So just give me a shout out or whatever you want to say.
Man, just check out the sources. Get acquainted with the ancient sources and get an understanding. And it's a big world. It's a big world. It's a big history, and there's enough for everybody to come up with something and come up with some understanding of what happened, because history is kind of a mystery in a way. We don't have it all fleshed out. There's some things to look into and stuff. It's open for anyone to go and explore and bring something back and show people, because it's vast everywhere you go, every part of the world.
Yeah. Amen. That sounds like something spoken by somebody who's guarding the doors of the museum. I love it, Neil. I'll stand by your side. You and I in Tartarus, baby. Love it. Love it. I'm going to end up by saying, what we've just attained. Hail Satan.
Hail Satan.
You never cared for fame and fortune or worldly renown. On the day that it came knocking, you just turned it down all the way. Why did you ever change your